Hi guys, here I'll introduce you to the TubeLight. This is an ESP32 programmable LED stripe inside a diffused plexiglass tube. Each LED on the strip is divided by spacers for maximum clear LED effects. Different modes are made available by touch buttons integrated into the main base PCB. The version you see here is 1 meter high. Later in the video you will see a 2 meter long prototype. I'll go through the design and show you how it was made, giving you all the inspiration and tips so you can build your own example. There are also some tips and tricks for you on how to implement your own Arduino code, or you can go with the VLED software, which is also very simple to use. So let's get started. Here we have the schematic in KiCad, and the processor here is the ESP32, and we have the programming interface. And we have a connector here for the microphone. There's a white LED and interface for the LED strips. Here we have the 5 volt to 3.3 volts regulator. And here we have the schematic for the touch pins or touch buttons. We will have a look on that in the PCB design. And let's have a look here on the PCB design. There's just a lot of measurements and cutouts here for the wires and for the microphone. And there's a clear space here for the antenna for the ESP32. So let's have a look on the 3D viewer. And of course the solder mask will be white and the silk screen down here will be made with black. Like that. Let's have a look on the other PCBs that goes into the design. So we have one of the PCBs that holds LED strips. And we have one of the spacers. You can just see some of the measurements made here. And we have the 3D view here. Also a very simple PCB that doesn't require a schematic. So we can find all these PCB layouts and the schematics in the description down below, and you can also find it at PCBWAY, where I uploaded all the Gerber files so you can produce your own. So this video is sponsored by PCBWAY, who offer a wide range of manufacturing services for your projects, including PCBs from very low cost prototype boards to more advanced PCBs, all the way up to 60 layers, and also with specialist FR4 materials. You can also get your rigid flex PCBs made if you want to make something a little bit more interesting. They also offer a wide range of PCB assembly options. That means getting your PCBs assembled with components on both sides of the board, whether they be surface mount or through-hole parts. PCBWAY also offer some mechanical services such as CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, 3D printing, and also when you're making something with a little bit higher volume, you can also get some injection molding done here. So don't forget to visit PCBWAY.com. So let's have a look on some of the parts that goes into building the TubeLight. So we have a total of 3 different PCBs. The first one here is a base plate with the 4 touch buttons integrated into the PCB, of course. And power supply, ESP32, and microphone can be placed here. I have one assembled unit. I can just show you here. And here on the back side we have a DC connector for 5 volt input, a power supply, ESP32, and microphone. And of course I have a botch wire here. That was because I used the wrong AD input in order to use Wi-Fi at the same time. So of course botch wire here, and here we have a white LED shining here up to the top side. So the LEDs, they are placed on this assembly here, something similar to this. I need to make a construction that are 1 meter long, as the TubeLight is. So this is made up of some smaller PCBs that are soldered together, like these ones. I think they're like 20 centimeters long, and then they're offset by like this. And then you just solder them together here in the round holes. And then you place the LED strips here, and then you place, I can just show you here, some spacers, and they go on like this. And I found it useful to use a ruler, 90-degree angle, and then you can hold it up here and make sure that this is perfect 90-degree angle, and then you can solder it. Then you'll have an even distance between all the spacers. And of course the LEDs, I use these ones. They are like 60 LEDs per meter, and then you just place it here next to the round hole, and you can decide if you want one strip or two strips. There's room for two strips if you want a bit more light coming out. So this is it for the PCBs. There are three 3D printed parts. This is the holder here for the button plate. Just a hole here for the power coming in. And there's some room for the antenna here on the side. And then we have this round one. This is one holding the TubeLight itself, and some mounting holes for screws so you can attach it to the button PCB. And here's a lid for the tube. It's just to make a nice end, so you can fit it like this. And when you have the button piece here, then you just slide the tube over here, and then this will actually hold the whole tube in place. So the tube that I use is this 60 millimeter in diameter tube, and the walls, they are 3 millimeters thick, and then we have an inner diameter here of 54 millimeters. And you can get them in different lengths. This I bought in 1 meter length, and I have a couple of them in 2 meter length. So the final thing that we need is of course a power supply, and I just use this standard one. Nothing to it. If you have one that are 2 meter long, then we need something with a bit more power. But let's have a look on that later, and let's have a look on some assembled LED strips. So here on the floor I have a complete assembly, 1 meter long. And if we just zoom in here and have a look on some of the details, you can see I have here 2 wires coming in, 2 LED strips, and everything is just soldered perfectly. It was quite a huge job to solder all these, but I think it was worth it when you see the final result. And I used some epoxy here to hold the wires in place, because this can be a bit tricky if you take it apart sometimes. Then you could destroy some of this, so it's a good idea to glue it together here. And here on the back side you see a lot of solderings as well, just down here. And let's see how it fits into a tube. So let's try and put the assembly into the tube. So we have the wires here, let's pull them through here. And then it's just about sliding it all together here. It's a perfect fit. Like that. Perfect. Perfect, exactly 1 meter. And then we can assemble the wires here. like that, and then pull it through. There will be some fiddling with this, but if you just take one wire at a time, then it's possible to get it through. And then we can just pull the wires like that. And then you see everything just matches here perfectly. And then we can raise the assembly and finalize it, and then try and upload some code and see some of the final results. So now we can try and upload some code. I have here my favorite programmer tool, the ESP32 Prog, and it connects to the TubeLight here with this 6-pin thread cable, like that. And now it's just about uploading the code and test it out. I have a link to the code that I wrote in Arduino, and you can find that in the GitHub, and there's a link in the description down below. So the code has been uploaded. Let's apply some power and see what happens. So let's find a DC connector. And what should happen is that we should see some red flashing, and then the device should be ready if everything works. So here we have 5 volt connected, and we see some flashes, and now the device should be ready. If I then press the on button here, then the white LED comes on, and we can select different modes here. So this is the microphone using, we can see the view meter here, and we can just select some other modes, but I will show you that a bit later. Some fireworks here. And of course, you can turn up and down the brightness. Turn down the brightness here and turn it up again. Like that. And you can see every time I touch the keys here, then the white LED will flash. And here we are in our Arduino compiler, and here we see some simple test code I did in order to test the touchpads. And I just read out the touch values, and then I send them to the serial port. And you can see all the values there just being written continuously here. One smart thing we can do in Arduino is that we can actually plot the values. So here we actually see the 4 touch buttons, the values that we read from each touchpad. They're being presented here as like an oscilloscope. And we have a resolution of 100 milliseconds here. And if we then touch some of the buttons, then you can see what happens here on the oscilloscope. And you see we have plenty of signal, so it's quite easy to make a driver that can catch every touch that we do. And we can just try and then press a bit faster here on the different buttons. And you see there's plenty of signal here. So that's one quite cool feature here in Arduino. And if you want to plot other things, then it's quite easy just to print them out on the serial port and then get them up here on the screen as an oscilloscope. So let's have a look on the 2 meter long devices that we did. I'll just show them shortly here on the screen. And here we have the 2 meter long prototype version. And that was a quite huge soldering job. And yeah, the reason why I haven't made it or completed it yet was because the tube was a bit unstable when it got up in a vertical position. And here I just plot out some different things. And then we just see here a random pattern. So I like this effect quite a lot. It's quite cool. And of course it's a bit different when we see it here on the screen. In reality it looks much different. But I think you get the idea. So here you see 2 pieces of my TubeLights in action. So let's try and test it out and see the different modes, and I'll turn on the music and let's enjoy the light show. So there you have the demo, and I hope that you enjoyed it. See you in the next one. Bye.